afternoon. Welcome to lecture 47, Statistical Measures of Safety Program Effectiveness, Part 1. This is under Module 10, Prescriptive Safety Analytics 1. So, we will discuss what is prescriptive safety analytics, and then we talk about elements of safety and health programs, safety programs, particularly education and training related safety programs, then study design, statistical measures. One of the statistical measures, namely Wilcoxon signed rank test, will be discussed today. So, if you recall the different stages of safety analytics as such data analytics, then we have discussed three primary stages. One is descriptive, then predictive, then prescriptive. You can recall this analytics. Descriptive primarily define about the what happened and why happened, how happened, those kind of things, and predictive means primarily what will happen, why and when, that kind of things, and prescriptive means what actions to be taken so that the undesired events will not happen. So, and what is the best action. So, that sense. So, in this particular week, we will basically discuss on different types of prescriptions related to safety management, and they are some way of either qualitative or quantitative ways of quantification. Okay, we can say that prescriptive safety analytics basically deals with the safety related decision making, and when you talk about safety related decision making, definitely safety interventions or different safety programs which are used, whether they are effective or not, that is one of the big issue. So, now let us see that what are the different safety and health programs that are being practiced, that are being recommended by different organizations, and I have discussed particularly the risk control systems given by HSE 2006 and OSHA Occupational Safety and Health Administration 2016. They have given different programs. So, this if you can see that the programs are management, leadership, worker participation, hazard identification and risk assessment, hazard prevention and control, education and training, program evaluation and improvement, communication and coordination. So, basically you just see that if you want to improve safety of a process, of a plant or a workplace altogether, and these are the few programs which are recommended by OSHA and which are being practiced also. And when you are talking about risk control system, so these 9 risk control system, just in order to prevent accident as well as mitigate the consequences, these are also in practice and recommended. Now, by saying that evaluation of the effectiveness of safety programs, what do we mean? Suppose you have introduced inspection and maintenance scheme, which one may be a new one or existing one, but you want to know whether this particular scheme or this particular control system is giving you the desired results or not. Now, here by saying desired results, you have to understand that how to measure those results, means the performance of the risk control system. So, we have given you some indicators like leading indicators, lagging indicators, as well as safety outcome variables earlier we discussed. So, with reference to that leading, lagging indicators as well as safety outcomes like number of accidents, number of injuries, and those kind of things are also very important, and they are primarily used to understand whether the programs are effective or not. So, what I mean to say here, suppose you introduced worker participation in the safety management. It might be there already, or you might have introduced in your plan. So, now you want to know that whether due to worker participation in the safety related decision making or safety management, is there any improvement in safety or not. Okay, so that if you can quantify, if you can collect data to quantify the differences before worker participation and after worker participation, and if the differences are in the positive note, in the sense it's giving you better or improved safety performance, then we can say that particular program is effective. It's very easy to tell, but very difficult to maintain this thing, because suppose you just think of that you have introduced a training program, and these programs you are following certain interval of times. For example, earlier I have seen that it was a standard in the mines, basically mine safety point of view, that 1/5 of the worker every year to be trained in the safety related issues, that standards, operating procedures and other things. So, that means every 5 years there will be refresher training for every individual workers. Now, is this particular program is really helping in improving the safety performance or not? So, if you want to know this, what you will do, you will evaluate the program's effectiveness, or other way we can say safety program effectiveness. So, then one may say, how do we do it? Obviously, one of the way of doing is basically talking about run chart kind of thing. Run means over time you just suppose this side your performance indicators. If I say safety education or safety training is one of the program for which you are interested to know whether the safety training is productive or not, so then the training related indicators and performance indicators. So, that means what will happen? One of the important training related indicators will be that the unsafe acts in the workplace will be reduced. So if you see over time what is happening, so if you find that there is a change, and that change actually it was a planned change, because you change the program in such a manner, improve the program in such a manner that there should be change in the outcome or the performance. So, that is what is given here. Okay, we say planned change. Suppose you have improved the plant. Before improvement, suppose this is the your performance graph. Then after improvement, and this is the performance graph. So, if we say that performance indicator positive value is the desired one, or the higher value is the desired one, then obviously you can see that the central line here in the after change and central line before change giving you a clear indication that there is this much of improvement, So, we can say that's why that the what planned changes you have made in the system, that has improved the performance. As the planned changes is for safety improvement, so we can say that the safety performance is improved. So, this is the minimum thing you can do. But another important part is that in the safety is such a domain that where you may not get that only one program is running, there could be many parallel simultaneous programs are going on. So, from the run chart it will be very difficult to identify that which program is effective, which program is ineffective, or which program is as usual continuing its performance the way it would have done earlier. So then obviously this run chart will not be possible. Some way or other you have to segregate the performance according to the different programs, then only it is possible. Or there should be some way of analysis which may help you in decomposing the effect of different programs. As I told you that education and training, particularly safety training, is very important program. So we thought that let us give you something more on safety training. Apart from the OSHA programs, all the different components as well as HSC risk control system, the safety program we thought of elaborating little bit more, and here you will find out based on OSHA and based on Burke et al. That OSHA 2016 and Burke 2006, we found out that OSHA basically elaborated that the education and training could be of three types. One is program awareness, so that means one is awareness training, another one is training related to respective roles and training hazard identification and control. For example, suppose you just think of that someone will be working at the workplace, so you want to introduce the awareness scheme, actually some kind of training. Okay, what is the workplace, what is being happening there, what things are done, something like this. At least he will be or she will be aware about this particular system, obviously related to safety and risk whatever there. Now in general, that is first thing. Second one, suppose that every individual they have certain roles or jobs and what they will be performing in that particular place. So the job related, the procedures, the standards, all related training also you can give. Third one is, fine, I know what is my job, what are the steps or tasks to be performed, but I don't know what kind of hazards are getting generated, and if you in addition give this kind of training, so that means what job, what task you are performing, what are the different hazards present there, what are the different energies involved, what are the different ways those energies may come out from the containment. So all those things when you are giving, so the persons will be able to identify that what are the different hazardous sources, what are the different ways hazards may come out, initiating mechanisms, the accident causing mechanisms, then who are going to be affected. So all those things, once you such kind of training are called training hazard identification and control. Now if you introduced any one of the program, obviously you will be interested to know that whether the programs are effective or not. So that if it is not effective, then why you will go for introducing the program. Now another kind of the training definition given by Burke et al., that from the engagement point of view, they have divided the training into three categories based on engagement. One is least engaging, moderately engaging and most engaging. Suppose you just think of certain classroom lectures, some pamphlet and videos are shown, so then fine, people will see it, they will understand what is going to happen, what are the things, but the engagement may be the minimum one. Now when we are talking about moderately engaging, that programmed instructions, feedback, interventions. So not that general talk that safety as a whole, not that kind of things. Here basically program specific, job specific instruction, the steps, then maybe doing it either online or maybe in the virtual platform or on the job, and then correspondingly that giving the feedback that okay, you are doing right, wrong, something like this. Okay. And then when you are talking about most engaging, that means the intensity level is high. So there what we are saying that hands-on training, as I told you, we know that there could be on the job training, on the job, of the job training. So when you say of the job, so it may be moderately, but when you are saying on the job, it can be most engaging. So depending on the type of training and the basically how much concentration, how much involvement is required to participate in the training program, based on the objectives, goals of the program, ultimately it can be least engaging, can be most engaging. Okay. Similarly, before and what I said that the training could be awareness, means general things, that can be very job specific, that can be job plus hazard oriented training. So that means depending on the contents of the training, what are the contents being taught, what are the skills or knowledge being imparted. So based on that also the training are divided. Obviously all contents you may not be able to accommodate at the same time. So in that case there could be that sequence of training. So that is another issue. Suppose first training followed by second and third, so that also need to be evaluated. So that means whether the training method is effective or not, so that evaluation is also an important evaluation. Okay. Now as I told you that knowing the programs is one thing, and understanding the programs are effective or not, that is another issue. As I told you earlier, suppose you consider any workplace, particularly the industry, you will find out there will not be only one program, there will be many safety improvement programs, and you cannot avoid this. So if I want to understand the effectiveness of one program, really it is difficult unless you purposefully design the programs and execute in such a manner that all other things will remain constant, only the program related changes will be visible, then only you will be able to understand that whether program is effective or not. This kind of approach basically consider specific study designs. So here I have given 3 study designs. One is cross-sectional design, longitudinal design, and cohort design. These designs are basically adopted from the, I can say, the other domain of science. For example, medical. You think of medicine effectiveness. A new medicine is introduced into the market. How do you know that medicine is working or not? So, or maybe you can think of a scientific experiments being conducted in a laboratory. So there you can precisely control the experiment, and you can use this some of the designs. But mostly from this particular the study designs, whatever you are seeing, that we have borrowed from the medical domain, particularly the epidemiological modeling point of view. And I will explain these 3 designs, and I will try to give you some idea that how these designs can be used when you are introducing new programs, and also quantify the effectiveness of the program based on this design. If you collect data using these designs, things will be little better. So what is cross-sectional design? So cross-sectional design means you are interested in collecting observations at any particular point in time from a population of interest. For example, you think of maintenance workers. Now, you want to understand that whether maintenance workers are following the safe operating procedure or not. So, you go around the maintenance works, what is going on a particular period of time, and then see what you are getting. So, that kind of one time in the cross section of across the organization for a particular kind of work, if you do collect data, that is basically cross sectional, because you consider the entire population, collect data across the population, obviously sample data. So, that will give you some idea that what is happening in the plant with reference to following the proper maintenance procedures. Similarly, if you think of any process, the operator, suppose there could be many process operators working here and there, you just think of across the processes how the operators are operating. So, if you want to see that across different locations what is the housekeeping performance, or you may interested to know how energy is controlled at different places at any particular point on time, you visit across all the energy sources and then see what is happening there. So, this kind of design is cross sectional design, and it is easy because it basically for the existing system you are studying, you are moving out, you are visiting the floors, and you are seeing the people, you are seeing the equipment process, you are just measuring the environmental parameters. So, you are in a position to understand at this particular point in time what is happening there. But this study design, as I said, that basically a particular point in time means, or a particular period of time when you are doing at a stage. So, that means it has a limited value. Limited value means this is applicable for that particular time only or time period only. Before that and after that, before that what was you do not know, and after that what will happen, that also difficult to perceive, but you can say that okay, things that under the same management, similar management, things will continue in this manner. So, fine, but most of the way the purpose here is basically to understand what are the problem, and so that improvement actions can be taken. So, from cross sectional design you will find out what are the different prescriptions can be given from the purpose or the objectives or the goals point of view. Then second one is longitudinal study. Longitudinal study is basically it is not that it is collected one point on time, it collected over several points. Okay. So, you can think in this way, where if I say that this is my timeline, so suppose you are here at 0, at time t, you across the population you collected data, and that data ultimately when you are using that, suppose collected data and data set is this. So, this is cross sectional. Now, instead of this, if you think that okay, T1 I will collect, T2 also I will collect, and in this way suppose Tn, that at different time point, maybe at certain specific interval, predeterminative interval or a random interval. So, when you collect this, so what actually happens, you will see that over time what are the changes taking place. Although at particular point in time it is cross sectional, but as there are many times, many instance time periods you have collected. So, what is happening across the time, you are also able to do time stability, time over time, is there any changes or not, that you are able to capture. So, now issue is that this longitudinal study that can be retrospective or prospective. Retrospective means, so it is time t equal to 0, I am saying suppose you basically think of time t equal to 0 here. So, you are going back and you are saying that minus t1 time, minus t2 time. So, at minus t3 times, that means in the past at different time frame what actually happened. So, that talks about retrospective. So, you are not talking about one point on time, several point on time, but all those things has already happened. Prospective means you start with 0, t equal to 0, and then you know that maybe after certain time, maybe 5 days, 7 days or t equal to t1, you will observe, then again you observe t2. So, that means along the time your program performance you are evaluating. So, here that this will become prospective. Okay. Prospective. So, longitudinal study could be retrospective and prospective. Now, what will happen when you do a longitudinal retrospective study on 2 or more groups, not only one groups, 2 or more groups, then that is known as case control study. Okay. In the medical domain, it is very popular. You create 2 groups of that patient. You give one group the medicine, one group you don't give, and you see that that means the disease behavior over time, what is happening. So, the group which is exposed to the particular medicine and which are not exposed to that particular medicine, all other things remain same. So, then what will happen? If you find out the group exposed to the particular medicine, so their performance is better or the improvement, that basically that means the medicine effect you are basically doing. And the same thing will happen in the safety and risk domain also. Suppose you just think of 2 groups, give one group a particular kind of training and another group don't give the training, and over time you see their safety behavior. If you find that the group receiving the training, the safety performance is better than the group which is not receiving the training, because all other things remain same. So, then we can say the training, what is the effect of training. If you find out that there is no difference, that means the training is not giving any bottom line results. So, that kind of that design if you adopt, you will be able to understand that whether your program is effective or not in reality. Now, the group which basically one group which is given the particular exposure or the dose will be basically talking about control group, and another group which are basically not given, they are reference group. So, if there are more than 2 groups, so one will be reference, others will be control groups. The another design is called cohort study. Cohort study is basically prospective case control study and also known as follow up study. It starts at a particular time and observations are made at different points in time in future, therefore, it is prospective in nature. So, as I told you, so that means longitudinal study, prospective in nature, and following the case control means for with 2 or more groups. So, that actually talking about the cohort study, and the purpose is also you can see that the more or less the purpose is whether the particular treatment, whether it may be a safety program, it may be a medicine, or it may be some other kind of programs, whether it is effective or not. So, if you can adopt these designs when you are proposing a training program or any other kind of safety and risk management programs, this will help you in understanding the program effectiveness or not. Okay, so these are the theoretical side, but now what happened? Let us hope that you are using some of the designs, either it is case control, cross-sectional or maybe that cohort or longitudinal kind of designs, but ultimately what is required basically for particular program point of view, you have to have the data. Once you have the data, you want to find out whether you will be able to measure the effectiveness is there or not. So there are many statistical measures. Once you have such data collected, you can use. There could be parametric measures where the distribution of that particular variable of interest is available. Somewhere basically the non-parametric measures where the distribution is or distribution free measurement. So that also you can do. Now from the parametric measure point of view, the t-test, then analysis of variance, signal to noise ratio, these are the things we have used, but there are many other parametric tests I have not shown here. Non-parametric tests, some of the non-parametric tests like Wilcoxon rank sum test, Wilcoxon sign rank test for paired data, then Friedman test. So these are the few tests for or distribution free test to understand whether the program is effective or not. Okay. So I will just finish with this. Next class I will discuss about some of the tests, but before finishing I want to tell you that how we are going to use this test. If you go back, you will see that we have shown you a run chart where we have given you the behavior in this manner. What we say that before change and after change. If I consider that this change is, let the change may be that before training and after training. Now let us that number of unsafe act committed, So I can say, if I say unsafe act, then this is not correct, because the before training the number is less, after training number is more, that will not happen. So as a result I will take some positive variable, suppose number of safe act committed, safe acts committed or done, number of safe acts done. So you find out that number of safe acts done before training for that particular group. I talk about one group only, let it be one group, is this, and the same group after training is this. Now if I want to know the mean value here in the second place, and the first case also the mean value, if I say mean equal to mu, then mu b before training and mu a after training. Now you want to, if there is no effect, so we can create a hypothesis H0 that mu a equal to mu b, means the training has no effect, although you are finding out some effect here, but the difference may not be significant. So if the training has effect, then the alternative hypothesis will be that mu a obviously greater than mu b. Okay, so this H0 is known as null hypothesis and H1 is known as alternate hypothesis. Under such situation, that one parametric test which is mostly used is t-test. This situation also non-parametric test like Wilcoxon rank sum test that can be used also. Okay. So with this what I mean to say, that if you know your program, if you use proper study design, and after that if you collect the data carefully, if you have the data with you, yes, there are statistical measures. These measures will help you in understanding that whether the program is effective or not. Again I am telling you, the data will be related to the program effectiveness. If you collect data in such a manner that you cannot nullify the effect of others, so that is not that program effectiveness. The statistical measures are generic measures, so they can be used whatever data you give. So that's why the data collection based on sound study design is recommended. if you are not in a position to have that kind of designs to be implemented, then you have to understand also at the same time that whether you have some way or other decomposing the effect of different programs, and then you can use this kind of statistical measures also. Again, the decomposition also is another issue which we will not be discussing. So, for the time being this much, and next class I will discuss primarily that Wilcoxon rank sum test and some other test, as well as maybe we will also start with the t test. And as this is a very vast area, there are many tests: single variable, single group, two variable, more than two variable, single group, then single variable, many groups, many variable, many group cases are there. So, it cannot be possible for us to tell you everything, but yes, I will give you some of the ideas so that you will be able to use those techniques, and whenever needed you will be able to evaluate the program effectiveness. Thank you so much for your patience and kind hearing. We will meet you in the next class.